Hello and welcome to Connect. I'm your host, Randy Shabilo. On today's show, we'll speak with Brenda Wallace about Saskatoon's Winter City strategy and Alex Fallon with the Partnership for Growth. And as always, we'd like to connect with you.
Tweet us at Shaw TV Saskatoon. Find us on Facebook or email shawtvconnect@shaw.ca. You can also watch previous interviews on Shaw TV's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Shaw TV Saskatoon.
Saskatoon's Winter City strategy is being led by Brenda Wallace, the Director of Corporate and Environmental Initiatives. I've invited her today to come and talk a little bit about some of the new things that are happening and how we can all get involved. So Brenda, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for the invitation. Good to see
Let's talk about what your vision is here and what your mission is to try and get the citizens engaged about our Winter City.
Yeah. So, City Council had identified this opportunity for us to take more advantage of winter. We are a unique place. Saskatoon does have 4 seasons, and it's obvious as a community we embrace summer very well. We have, as you know, well over 200 event days a year, most of those jam-packed into our summer season. And so it's time to really look at that lost opportunity that is winter. And there are cities internationally that are also winter cities and are embracing their 4-season nature and really taking advantage of the winter city opportunities that there are.
We see that quite often. We hear, even with the new immigrants that are coming here and some of the tourism, that people want to experience that, cold or that something that they don't have back at home. I know we had a young fellow here from Australia who never experienced that type of cold but saw the beauty in that. And I think when you're complacent, we kind of overlook that. What are some things, are there, you had 4 pillars that we were going to talk about. Maybe expand on that.
Sure, and it's great that you talked about experience first because, I would say that's one of the biggest tragedies that we have. Sometimes you don't know what you've got till it's gone, and we do have this wonderful season that we've maybe forgotten to embrace. And often when we entertain visitors from somewhere else, or as you say, when new Canadians come from other countries, they see what's beautiful and unique, and they want to experience some winter life. And winter life is the first of the 4 pillars, and that's about getting out and about. And you know what, when on cold days, it could be okay to just get out so you can get back in again, but we really want people to think about what are some of the active lifestyle things that could be enjoyed here in Saskatoon. If you're a person who might walk to a destination in the summer, well, what would it take for us to make our community accessible so that you could continue to make that walk in the winter? And so that's what leads into the second pillar, which is around winter design. And it's what can we do to improve the comfort and accessibility of our community. That can be things like creating microclimates. So, today and yesterday were really quite glorious winter days. Cold if you're in the wind, though. So if you could be in a spot where you're in the sun but sheltered from the wind, you can be quite comfortable. So how could we establish more microclimates in our community, make sure that we're not creating wind tunnels? We have to make sure that we're dealing with ice and snow for accessibility. And we need to make sure as well, do we think about our building design? If we can take advantage of that glorious winter sun inside some of our public amenities in our buildings, that's an important consideration as well. Running water, places to warm up in the community, just things that are going to support that getting out and about and that winter life. So that's winter design. The third pillar is what we call winter culture. And this is really the story we tell ourselves about what is our attitude about winter, and do we truly embrace it, or are we looking for that first opportunity to hop on a plane and take a hot holiday somewhere? And I would love for us, and I know this strategy will be successful, when we see people actually planning staycations here in Saskatoon in February like they do in July. And that's what leads into the 4th pillar, winter economy. There's a real lost economic opportunity to be seeing much more vital businesses year-round. I think businesses do okay in the summer festival season. They thrive in the Christmas shopping season, and then there's this dead zone called January, February, March, and I think if we could recapture some of the dollars that are getting on planes and going to warmer climes here, because people love their city and all year round, that's a real economic opportunity, and we'd like to capitalize on that.
I think that's important because we look at we're not an island here, and we're not the only winter city. So I know we've talked to people in Anchorage and Edmonton and into Ontario who do different things. So when you look at how this can happen, do you look for civic involvement or maybe a partnership between corporate sponsorships and things of that nature? Because it's not exactly something you can predict for a minus 35 wind chill and so on. But what can we do to partner with the city and some of the levers that are in front of us to pull?
Yeah, you know, without a doubt, the city is a contributor to that. I mean, we are looking after winter road and sidewalk maintenance and those kinds of things. But I view this strategy as being about co-creating with the community the future that we want here in Saskatoon, especially as it pertains to winter. So I think that there's a lot of leadership and tremendous number of ideas that can come from the community, whether that be the business community, from nonprofit organizations, from community arts and culture or recreation and sport groups. There's a lot of ideas and energy and resources that I think can be harnessed and leveraged. As I say, I view this as a co-creation in a future that's better than any one single level or organization might be able to achieve. Yeah.
I did hear you say earlier that when you look at Saskatoon, there are a lot of ideas out there. We just haven't harnessed them. How do you hope to get that information through your department and try and network that and bring some of those to light?
Yeah, in a few different ways, actually. So the first of which is a call for expressions of interest that just closed last week, actually. We think there's a real opportunity to stimulate some idea generation by sending a community delegation from our community across some of the various sectors that are going to help us in those pillars to the Edmonton Winter Cities Shake-Up that happens next month. That is an international Winter Cities conference. It has a reputation for attracting really great speakers who are doing innovative things internationally. So we're excited about sending that delegation and having them come and share some of those ideas with us that might generate some new thinking here in Saskatoon. So that's one avenue. Another avenue is simply through community engagement. So the city will be hosting stakeholder roundtable discussions. We know that there's a lot of work that's already being done by a variety of sectors, and we'd like to learn more about what they're doing and what they think could be the opportunity going forward. We've also put up online on the city's website a few engagement tools so that people can participate individually as well. So there's an online survey and kitchen table talks that they can host themselves. And then lastly, City Council has approved some funding for us to provide some small grants to groups that have generated some ideas either in these roundtable discussions or from having gone to the conference and want to pilot some things here in Saskatoon. We've got a little bit of seed money to help see that get going.
I've had a few experiences growing up in the city, and one of them, the more memorable, was to play with the seniors, because a lot of their games that they played back in one-room schoolhouses and so on. But there was also some events at Wanuskewin, and there's the Meewasin Valley and so on. Are a lot of the things that you see inside or outside, or a combination of both? Because I would imagine you'd have, you get cold, like you said, you want to go and warm up. Do you see some things like the Rush games are an obvious, and the Blades games are an obvious example of getting out of the house and just going someplace, but then is there something else that we can add to that?
Yeah, that's a great question and a great point, and I think there's going to be no magic bullet and a singular approach that we can take to this. What we have put some first effort on is the outside, I have to admit, because what we're really trying to do is get at people's attitude about winter. And if we can do some myth busting about getting out first, we know they'll find their way back in. And we also know, and one of the things we've done as a first step and put on the city's web page, saskatoon.ca/WinterCityYXE, is an inventory of the winter-related assets that we already have. So assets are things like outdoor rinks and ski trails and
tobogganing.
Tobogganing opportunities. Yeah. But assets are also what are the winter events and festivals and community association fun days that are already planned. And also, what are some of those winter-oriented programs? And those can be indoor or out for sure. As I say, it hasn't been an issue to convince people to come inside. The issue is getting them out in the first place. So that's step number one.
Point well taken, because even as a child and now with my own children, taking them out and standing around a fire, even on a cold day with marshmallows, and even on New Year's Day, using some of the barbecues on the Meewasin Trail and so on. Do you think there'd be a little bit more effort put into sporting outside or outdoor activities like hockey or shinny and cross-country skiing, things like that, or is it like a festival type of atmosphere? How do you see that playing out?
You know, that's going to be up to the community and where that energy is. And that's what I mean by co-creating this strategy with them. Where their energy and enthusiasm is, that's what's going to shine out most in what we see as being added to our already very high quality of life here in Saskatoon. So I don't know. I can't tell you what the need is, whether it's just that we need more festivals or if we had more outdoor shinny facilities. I don't know what that challenge is, but the community does. And that's what we'll hear through the engagement.
Just to harness them, I think, is what we're trying to see, is bring those ideas forward.
Harness them and connect them too. Because you know what, sometimes there's real gold that comes from linking people that may not have had the opportunity to understand what the other person's doing yet. They just haven't met yet. So if we can help place some of that connection, happy to do so.
If a group of people are sitting around a coffee table or in some of our creative bars that we see sometimes, is there something that they can do together? Where would they go to get that information and put their ideas forward to you?
Yeah, so you know, I brought with me today this Winter City discussion guide. So this is a resource that's on the city's Winter City website that people can either download or enter right onto the form. So if they're having a discussion, capture those ideas and some of that gold and send it in to us so that we can use that to push the strategy forward. Certainly, you know, as I said, I really think the strategy is about people connecting with each other and not needing the intervention of the city necessarily. But while we're in this phase of actually trying to document a strategy and what are the things that we might want to leverage the resources of some of the nonprofit organizations, the business community through sponsorship, as you mentioned, or civic or other levels of government resources, we need to get that into our plan. So if we can encourage people to make use of this Kitchen Table Talk guidebook to document some of their ideas and get that in, we'd like to.
We're on our way.
Yep.
I think we've got the right person on the job. Thank you for taking time and explaining that to us, and we'll see what comes out of this.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah. Stay with us. We'll be right back.